Hi, I'm the Tolkien Curmudgeon. Recently, I haven't been as curmudgeonly as I thought I would on this channel. For example, in the last video, I mentioned a certain Tolkien scholar by name because I feel kind of indebted to him because I was partly inspired by one of his ideas. However, when I want to criticize, I think maybe I won't mention names. So today, I'm going to criticize somebody and he will remain nameless. Today, yes, I feel much more curmudgeonly. Yes, I'm going to do some complaining. Yeah, complain. All right, so here's what's happening. One of the reasons I started to think about doing this channel was because I felt really disappointed by some things I saw on the internet. There's a guy, he's very famous in the Tolkien scholarly world. Let's see, he has a nickname. He's called something like the Tolkien Professional. No, that's not it. The Tolkien Prophet. No. The Tolkien Teacher. It sounds almost like that. So anyway, I'll call him the Tolkien Teacher. Now, the Tolkien Teacher has a online discussion group that's called something like the middle yard academia or something like that. It's a free discussion, and that's great. But one of the things I've been discussing is the History of Middle-earth series, and then read many, many volumes of it over many years, and they finally got up to the War of the Jewels last year, and now they're doing a different book. But anyway, anybody can listen in. I've never actually joined up, and because I don't really know, I can't find the links how to join up the discussion. Well, anyway, he talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, as I sometimes do. But hey, I don't claim to be a scholar. I'm just a guy making some videos. I've been reading Tolkien for many years. I just talk and talk and talk. Yeah, but anyway, he's a scholar. He has a university. He just blah, 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 blah. Talk, 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 talk. And what is he really saying? Well, he makes a lot of mistakes, and I'm very disappointed in that. So as he was talking, he basically eventually admitted that I'm really glad I can, he said this, I means him. It says, I'm really glad I can do this because now I'm really reading really carefully the History of Middle-earth series. And he says that he had never really done that. He had read it a long time ago, once or something, or twice, and not very carefully. And then the lack of preparation, the lack of knowledge really shows. One of the things he did where I thought I was kind of shocked was when he was talking about the issue I talked about in my last video. It talked about the Nauglamir. And then he was talking about the Book of Lost Tales. And suddenly he said that in the Book of Lost Tales, Húrin goes to Nargothrond and takes the Nauglamir from Mim. And that's not the story in the Book of Lost Tales. So I thought, well, maybe he's making a slip of the tongue. And then a few minutes later, he said the same thing. He repeated the story, that the story in the Book of Lost Tales was that. And it wasn't. In fact, Tolkien didn't write it, as we talked about in the last episode. So why did he say that? Well, anyway, when we finally got to the section where he had to talk about the note that I talked about last time about chapter 22, where Christopher Tolkien says that he wrote it and that it had no authority in his father's writings, suddenly there were no episodes for like a month. And he said, when he finally came back, he said that he had all these things to do. But it made it, from my point of view, it looked like, well, maybe it was that he suddenly realized, oh my God, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have to reread all this carefully. And when he came back, he was kind of on a different wavelength. But anyway, he didn't apologize for not knowing what he was talking about, which is what I kind of wished he had done. So, but what I really want to talk about is this other thing he has where, I don't know, he did last year when each episode of The Rings of Power came out, he had this big show with big production values and had all these graphics from The Rings of Power and all of this, and he talked about with another person who helps him. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. He talked about in detail everything that was happening, and he discussed it forever and ever, and he never said anything bad about it. But he did say, oh, I'm not going to say that I like or don't like it until I get to the very end. After it's all done, I'll say make an evaluation. And he said that, oh, I was very disciplined about The Hobbit. When we talked about The Hobbit, I did the same thing. He did the same thing. But I don't think that's a good thing to do. It's misleading people because it doesn't bear the level of discussion that he's making of it. It doesn't. It's not good enough quality to be discussed that deeply. It's like this. Imagine you went into a public toilet and you found some graffiti on the wall and you wrote it down and thought, okay, here it says, I so-and-so sign my name, and blah, 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 a limerick or something. And you take that and then you try to do a literary analysis of it. But you never say anything bad about it. You just find what's good. And there's something good in everything. In Tolkien's philosophy, if something doesn't have any good, it would cease to exist. It wouldn't even be real anymore. You can read in Carl Hostetter's book about this topic. Anyway, that book is The Nature of Middle-earth. At the end, the appendix tells you about that. Nothing new to me, I'm happy to say, but I was happy that he brought that out. So yes, you can find something good about anything. But that's not what literary criticism should be. You should be saying why it works, why it doesn't work, and the reasons why it works or doesn't work. And not just, oh, I like this, I really like this part because it's maybe like this. And anyway, he was totally wrong about it. Totally wrong about Halbrand. He didn't see it coming. And then at the end, he had to just kind of joke about it and say, oh, poor Halbrand, oh, I mourn for the loss of the character Halbrand. That was his way of saying, this stinks. But he couldn't say that because he's already said he's not going to say that. Well, anyway, there is some kind of relationship with Amazon. Otherwise, how would he have access to all these great graphics? There's some connection. Is there a non-disparagement agreement? Maybe. But that doesn't serve the students. It does not teach the students how to be literary critics. Anyway, don't take his word for it and don't take my word for it. Think for yourself. Watch, read, think. I'm the Tolkien Curmudgeon. Bye for today.